Good morning, everyone. Afternoon if you're watching this somewhere else in the world, or whenever you're watching this, hi. I am Lily and I'm going to be bringing on the gorgeous Clinton MacAulay to speak all things relationship today. So, Clinton, I see you're there. Please put in a request. There we go. Amazing. All right, and here we I feel like maybe I should have earphones for this, but let's see how it goes. Hey!
Good morning. Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm excellent. I won't have the video so close to my face.
Yeah, it's a bit like that when you feel a bit bleary-eyed in the morning. You're just like, okay, cool, let's move back.
Hope I'm not too bleary-eyed.
Do you have a late night?
No, just had a really solid sleep. So ready for a relax. As you know, we've got a big men's workshop coming up next week. So this weekend is all about just taking it easy and getting ready. So very quiet weekend ahead.
Yeah, amazing. I'm just messing around with some lights. All right, Clinton, let's get straight into it. Clinton MacAulay, I would love, Clinton, if you could intro yourself. What I know about you is like this much compared to who you are. So let's hear it.
Awesome. Well, firstly, I just saw my daughter jump on and said, hi, Dad.
Yes!
The reason why I'm saying hi is that she's in America on a volleyball scholarship, so it's always great for a little communication wherever it happens. So hello, Zara.
Hi, Zara.
Hi, Zara. Well, thank you. Hey, firstly, thanks for having me on. Really excited to share some stuff, especially about relationships, because it's always a huge topic. So my background is I've from a very little kid always wanted to help people, and I thought that the original direction of my life was in the healing arts. Wanted to get into physiotherapy, and that was something that was always directed. And encouraged by mum and dad, not from that's what they wanted me to do. And I had a really bad back injury when I was 13 and went to the physios. And fortunately, I say for me, it wasn't successful. And I found chiropractic through trying alternative therapies. Now, before people go, hey, you're bagging physios, like, no, I have a great relationship with a lot of physios around. So the thing is that chiropractic really helped me to, heal. And then that was what my passion was about helping people to heal from injuries and trauma. And chiropractic's got such a big scope of practice, not just back pain, neck pain. But in that scope, that's when I started learning about personal development and had some great, really wise chiropractors that had done a lot in the personal development field, personal transformation, psychology, and it really, really influenced me. So I delved into the world of transformation and relationship 25 years ago, and I've just absolutely loved it. And so that's been part of my core for a long time. And I traveled the world, doing shaman journeys and personal development retreats, and done stuff all over the world. And that's where my big passion is. So my purpose is about helping people. And as you know, Lily, chiropractic for 26 years. I run my own personal development company now with my business partner, Matt Ferris, who's based in Melbourne. But I'm stepping out, selling my practices in about 6 weeks' time and just concentrating fully on the world of this, because my vision has become so big and things are taking off that I can serve humanity at a much greater capacity by doing this than staying in the chiropractic field. Still love the hands-on, so I'm going to still be doing a little bit of locuming, but really my purpose and passion and why I'm here on this earth has been expanded, and it's all about helping others to be the best version of themselves possible. And that's for themselves, that's for their relationships, their primary partners, their kids, their business, and it just juices me. I love it, and I'm so passionate about it. And I know I've got a lot of wisdom to share. I've done a lot of journeying, and just want to leave impact on the world. That's a positive thing.
Yeah, amazing. Thanks, Clinton. My own experience of you from the time that I've known you is you've left a hugely positive impact in me. So, and this is why, for those who don't probably understand or know yet, I've asked you to come and speak at Enlightenment in the Bedroom, which is the Lux speaker event that I run here in Newcastle and in Sydney. And we have one coming up on the 15th and 16th of April, 15th of April in Newcastle and 16th in Sydney. And I've asked you to fly from Adelaide. I'm so excited that you and me are both coming, yeah?
Yes, we're both going to be there, which is awesome. Both very much looking forward to it. I just want to share a story. I think it's quite funny how we met. For those, we are in with Blake Worrell Thompson, and he's running a program at Tribe Business, and it was really funny that just this quick story. I'd sent Lily a friend request on Facebook, and she didn't realise who it was, and she was about to delete me and go, "I'm blocking this guy. I don't know who he is." And it was about a day later. We got on a meeting, and then we were made accountability buddies about 2 days later. So I went from, so I think it's quite funny. We went from like nearly being blocked to now speaking on stage together in about 3 weeks' time.
I know. That's definitely a thing with me. As you can imagine, it probably sounds really wanky, but as you can imagine, I get lots of, messages from random men. And so it's just like, and as you would have felt at the time, it's like, until the point where you are no longer a random man, I'm just like,
But the funny thing, we had been communicating in the group back and forth, and that's why I thought, I still know who I am.
Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, amazing. Cool. All right, I want to dive straight into it, and I would love for those who are watching and joining, and even after the fact, if you're watching this on my, I think it's called the IGTV, whatever it is, I'm not up to it, but to ask questions, to really get involved. And so what I would love to pick your brain on is, because you're speaking at Enlightenment in the Bedroom, the topic that you're speaking on is why relationships fail, and it's not what you think. I don't want to give away the content that you're going to be sharing on the evening. I mean, I'm sure you've got like days and days to share on this topic. But I do really want to pick your brain from my own personal perspective, and then I'd love people to join in and ask questions. I know that both women and men will have a lot to ask you, but there has already been women that have sort of reached out to me and asked me to pass on a couple of things that couldn't be here. So I guess something, because you run these retreats and you run the awakened man and the awakened woman.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Great. And you've just finished a women's retreat in Gold Coast?
The Gold Coast, yes.
Yeah, amazing.
Phenomenal. So just on that, the women's retreats are facilitated by some absolutely amazing women facilitators, crewed by women from all over Australia, and the participants come in. So it's a very feminine, female woman connection time. And then the men have the same thing. I'm one of the facilitators along with Matt. And then we have crew coming from all over Australia. So seriously, like from northern Queensland, from Perth to Victoria, and we're running those on the Gold Coast as well. So, and then we bring them together and do tribes. So then we have men and women come together in a much higher level capacity workshop as well. So we do that.
I'm really looking forward. I know I couldn't make it to this last one, but I am really looking forward to getting to your next one. And I am working with and know men who are on your men's retreat. So I'm really excited to hear about that.
Yes.
Okay, so I'd love to just delve straight into it and just ask you. Let's riff. Let's just throw some questions out there around relationships. And I see that there's actually quite a lot of there's a few men here. There's quite a lot of women here. I guess I'll start with something around. My question to you would be, as a woman, what can we do to inspire the men that we are relating with to, because as a woman, we desire presence and love, and we desire, men to open through their emotions and all of this. What can we do as women to inspire our partners to offer that, to offer more of that?
Great question. The first thing is that you've got to look at, and this is the long journey, and I'll just pre-frame a little bit about where our experiences, both men and women, come in. Is it really comes from our subconscious identity, right? So I'm just going to wind right back to just give a little bit of pre-context. So our subconscious identity really governs us. And most of the identity that we form happens in those first 8 years of our life. So I'm really rewinding right back. And if we don't delve into that, look, I'll give you an example. I consider myself a very integral and honest man, because I had great values and I had great guides as some great men in my life. Dad was one of them. But mum and dad's relationship was quite loveless, right? It was never, they never showed emotion. And I'm not talking bedroom. I've got no idea. I don't want to know that part of it. But the projection or my perception was that they never held hands, they never kissed, they never cuddled, or if it was very rarely. I can remember 1 or 2 times because it was like, oh my God, what are they doing? Right? Not as in yuck, yuck, but I've never seen them do, I've never seen them kiss before. So it was the shaping of us as adults and the shaping of us coming through teenage, especially the boys, locker room banter, and we break that locker room banter is that, you learn about sex and relationships and how to talk to girls when you're in year 8 from the most experienced of people in there to year 9. So we're not getting the right education to start with. So when we come in and we go, hey, how can women, hold the container for the men? Part of it is that every new man you interact with, you've actually got to start finding out a bit more about it. Now, I know that that's like, well, that's normal. But if you meet someone who has done a lot of work and they're quite open and vulnerable, it's a lot easier to communicate. So I get a lot of women will ring up and go, my man's not vulnerable. He's not showing emotion. He's not being able to hold that. And sometimes that's really, really hard because we're getting butted up where a man is told, do not show. This is the provider and this is what life has done. Don't show emotion, go to work, come home, 2 weeks holiday, pay, provide. And I really found that, early on in my life, the provider instinct for me, I've gone, I don't have it because I was doing really well. I was earning a lot of money and then went through divorce, had to pay a lot out and restart again. And then all of a sudden this provider instinct came in. And I nearly had a breakdown because I didn't feel the necessary or the need of it because I was already providing. But when it came to shove, this subconscious thing really, really hit hard. So my wisdom is this: is that in holding space, and holding space is really, really important to let the man be open. But the vulnerability is a tough one. And I'm not saying this as a promotion to go come to our events. You need to help men in that container. And a lot of the time you will find, and I know this is pretty broad, a lot of the time you will find that through their growing up period, they didn't have a really strong, solid father figure. And I know that this, and Dylan Roos, one of our great mates, also talked about this quite significantly, but he nailed the point about saying that the strong men that have that strength, and this is the challenge, the strong men that can be vulnerable also will make a stand for what's right, and they'll protect their woman or they'll protect their partner and their kids really, really cleanly. It's the ones that haven't had that experience as a youngster, don't know how to do that as an older person. So it's a really challenging question, but it's about, the one thing I can say is don't get in and start nag, right? And it's because that tightens the men up, and then they just want to retreat more and more and more. So there's times where my best advice is holding the space. If they're feeling it, I would not even question them. So if someone's coming in and they're really, they need to open up, sit and hold space with them. You may not even talk. You may just be sitting there and just sit in peace. No, they will know that you're there, but they don't feel like someone is trying to get it out of them. And it could take 3 or 4 attempts at this. It's just sitting in silence and sitting in peace. And I know that may not open them up straight away, but energetically they will be so deeply grateful that someone just held the container for them while they were going through their shit. And that is the best way to start.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And it reminds me, Clinton, of, the way that I relate with my I'm now 13-year-old son. He had his birthday last week. And I know for a fact when I sit opposite him and I press him to be like, I'm here for you. Like, I tell me, or, share with me. It's a completely different experience to something this simple that I sit beside him and I just sit there and I just like put my arm on his back, put my hand on his back. And I'm just like, dude, if you've got anything you want to share, I'm here. No pressure. Like, I love you. I just that alone, I recognized some years ago, it was something that I think I picked up at maybe one of Shani Marie's trainings, of just like, instead of being opposite a man, because it's like there's the penetrative energy, meeting each other. Like, I want to penetrate him so that he'll come back and penetrate me as such. But actually a man just needs, an open space in front of him so that he can see and he can just feel, and I imagine that's what it's like to have a man there to be with you. You just there with him side by side. It's like sitting at the front bar at the pub. You don't ever see men sitting facing each other. They're all sitting facing the bar and they just share in this way. So
and I'll just jump in and explain is that I had a great experience once. I was at a workshop and one of the participants had just gone outside to sit down and he was really in his, I think he ran out scared and he was just sitting there and he was crying. And I came back from doing whatever and I just went, as I said, and sat right next to him. And I mean, right next to him, didn't touch him. And I'll give you another hint in a sec as well. And I sat there and we sat there for 20 minutes and I didn't say a word. And he just went through his emotions. He cried, he laughed, he said a few words. I didn't say anything. And he turned to me at the end and he just looked at me and goes, thank you. He said, that is the first time anyone has ever just sat and not said a word, not tried to help. And he came up at the end. That was only probably a day into a workshop. And he came up at the end of the 5 days and he just said, that was the most profound experience that I've ever had in my life. And I really, this was probably about 9 or 10 years ago. And that's where I really learned that, because I'm sitting there going, what the fuck did I do? I didn't do anything. I was just sitting there. But that's the impact that has. And going on that, the next thing I really say is that if a man breaks down and starts to cry, do not touch him. Unless he falls into you. But if he sits down and he's crying and he's sobbing, don't pat, don't say it's all right, it's going to be okay, because as men, that's the trigger to go, oh, quick, toughen up, wipe the tears away, get back to work, do nothing, show no emotion. So just I implore, especially men to men as well, but women to men as well. As I said, if they lean into you or they turn to hug and then cry, then go for it. Don't pat them either, just hold. But leave them be in their container when they're letting that go, because we're just designed. This is their subconscious generational thing. Tap, 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 stop. So just sit and hold that container, and they will. I can tell you, they will love you more for it, and they will be more present for you. They'll show up for you, and they'll protect you more. Not that women need protecting. You know, understand. I know a lot of women where I go, I'll jump in front of a truck for them. I go, you don't need to do that because I can stop the truck. I go, but I want you to know that I'll do that. So I've got your back if you ever need it. And those moments there will change a man to go, this woman loves me and honors me. I'm going to do the same to her.
Yeah, beautiful. So I guess in that sense, as a conclusion to that, would you say that in order to inspire men to lean in further, we could lean back a little bit?
How do you mean lean back?
Okay, so what I mean by lean back is for us to hold more presence for them rather than asking them to meet us.
I knew that. I didn't want to say the word nag because I don't want to.
Thank you.
But that's really true. Is that the questioning side? Sometimes men just need to have that space and the silence. And there's another one. Is that we process one thing at a time. You know how and this is, I know they go, it's proven, we can do things because I'm breathing and talking at the moment. But when it goes from emotion to an activity. So if I'm and laugh at if I'm peeling carrots and you go, how was your day? I'll stop because I'm doing a physical activity and I have to go into another part of my brain. It's like containers. I've got to close the drawer of peeling carrots, open up the drawer of the emotions of going, how was my day? And go, oh, the day was good. But I stopped peeling carrots. And then you go, hurry up and go back and peel the carrots. And I go, oh, okay. So I'm peeling the carrots and you go, well, what emotions did you feel today? And I stop, and then I go, emotions? Oh, that's over here. Oh, yeah, I was feeling happy, right? And so then you go back and peel the carrots. It's like, it really, probably men and women are laughing that are listening to this now, but if I use that, and there will be some people out there go, oh no, that's not me, I can multitask. It's like, yeah, sure. But if you think about, if you look at a woman in a kitchen with kids, what are they doing? They're doing like things with their feet and hands and on the phone, and they're cooking 17 different dishes at once, yelling at the kids, trying to change a nappy. And it's all, so the programming of that as a basic example. So if you ask a question of a man and they're doing something physical and they have to go into their emotional side, there's actually a pause that goes on. And what I've seen happen, and a lot of men said, is that because they don't answer straight away, they go, oh, you're making it up and you're lying. And then go, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. No. And then they've had an argument going, no, I'm actually just, they don't understand. It's like, I'm just trying to access my feelings and feel that. They're just going, they just pause and go through and off we go. So, and sometimes when you say to them, what are you thinking? And men say nothing, we actually are just thinking nothing.
Yeah, totally.
So it's just some of those little tips here.
Yeah,
it's quite funny. But as I said, if you ask them a question, give them a moment. They're not trying to formulate or lie. They're just getting into that emotion to answer it and answer it honestly.
Yeah, I read that just quickly before I ask you something else. My partner and I were lying in bed the other day at his property, and I'd shared like quite a bit that was coming from my heart, and we were going through. We had some stuff. We were going through some process, and I shared all this stuff, and I was like, this is going on for me, and I had some tears and blah 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 blah, and then I was like, so can I ask what you're thinking right now? And he said, I was just wondering what time it is. I was like, fuck. And I was like, I just had to stop myself in that moment of being like, no, that's actually fair enough. We actually have a life to go out and live in this day. Like, but yeah, I just, in that, had that been a few years ago, I would have been like, fuck you, you weren't listening, you don't care, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, okay, cool. I asked you what you were thinking. That's what you were thinking. Great. Thank you. Like, let's move on.
you ask the question, so expect any answer.
Exactly. So it's really beautiful. But I wanted to, there was a couple other questions. Oh, actually, I know Rosie jumped in and asked a question. How do we build juicy polarity in our relationships? Like, what can a man do to build more juicy polarity? Let's ask from that perspective.
Oh, what a great question! What a great question.
I didn't get that.
Whoa.
Could you try again?
When I'm talking, I'm talking general stuff, right? So some people go, "Oh, that's not me. That's not me." One of the things we dive into, a lot of men, the Eros, and women, the Aphrodite. And if you're not sure of those words, Aphrodite is the goddess of love. Eros is the god of love. And I was actually thinking about this morning because I knew that a question something like this would come up. When I say men love to hunt, right? Men love to hunt. And when I say that, I'm talking their partner. So from a juicy side, and women, get them to hunt you. Now, when I say get them to hunt you, like every so often, I'm not saying it's the women's responsibility. So please understand that. But there's the normal great sex in the bedroom and connection, all that sort of stuff. But every so often, just drop, and it's not straight away. And men, I'm going to say this as well, is that women love to be hunted as well, right? So don't just dive in. Don't just dive in and go for the money shot and go, yeah, it's all over, right? They go, really? Come on, like, just start playing. Let's play energy. And the whole Eros and Aphrodite game is this weave. And I know some people that play that game for like 3 days. And when I say game, it's not mental fucking. It's the sexual energy build up. And so some of them play it for 3 days. And it's like, wow, that's really, and they'll play the game. They may say some really hot, sexy comment, or a woman might know that, her man loves a certain perfume. So she'll put it on and she knows, oh, he's got the smell of the hunt. And then we play it. And so to make it really, really juicy, that's part of that process. So men, don't just go straight, don't dive straight in. And if it's about, that they love a massage or they love to be tickled, just tickle them for a little bit. and then go and leave, right? And then come back and do it again. And the woman goes, oh, he's starting his hunt. She'll start the game too. Now, it might only last 10 minutes and then you're just going free for all and going right into it. But the ability for a man to be able to slowly woo the partner is really, really powerful. But I'll also say to the women as well, and I reckon most men will agree, men love to be hunted occasionally too, right? So men love to just be, something's happening and then the woman just comes up and starts the hunting, right? And it's not all the time, but men, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say this and put a stand for the men, is that chase your woman, like really chase your woman and make them feel like hunt them, because when you hunt your woman down, they will know that you love them. They'll know that like you've got eyes only for them, and it makes the polarity, as Rosie was saying, huge. And you want to just keep doing that. So make it fun, make it interesting. We talk about, I know it's enlightenment in the bedroom, but it's really enlightenment on the washer, and enlightenment in the lounge room, and enlightenment in the car and at the beach and all that sort of stuff as well. But we've got to have this, you can only have one title. But that's the reality of it, is do things differently. So if you're always having bedroom sex, go and do it somewhere else. Oh, but the kids are there. Well, then get them babysat and take them away and go away. Take your woman away for a weekend. Spend a whole weekend. And this is one thing, we're talking about relationships. I say to people, date nights are really, really important. And a date night is at least once a week or once a fortnight where you go out. And there's two conditions. Well, there's one big condition I put on date night. And the first one is you do not talk about the kids, right, on date night if you've got children, right? Now, if you haven't got children, it's easy not to talk about the kids. You do not talk about the kids. But once, I try and say once a month, but if you can only do it once every 2 months or once a quarter, you go away for 24 hours and you try and do, if your kids are really, really young, as in a couple of months old, you try and do it as soon as you can. But you go away for 24 hours, so 12 o'clock Saturday to 12 o'clock.
Could you try again?
Go Siri. From 12 o'clock.
I know Siri keeps piping in. Sorry, Clinton.
So from 12 o'clock Saturday to 12 o'clock Sunday, you go away. And the condition is no kids, no talking about kids, no kids sport, nothing. Go back to the fact that you two met before children. You had a lot to talk about. So the date or the weekend escape or the one day escape is all about you two, and the children are not to be brought up. It's the only condition I tell people. And they go, that's really hard. It's like, yes, it's hard because you've brought kids in if you've got kids in. But even if you're in a relationship, not kids, and it's new, still do those sort of things. Set those magic routines up now, because then you keep them going. And then you can set parameters. And it may be, to make it even more spicy, is the male does one. Like he goes, right, it's your turn, Clint. It's your turn next time for the 24 hours. You're organizing everything. Now, men don't like that. But I tell you what, men, if you do it, the women love the fact that you went and did it, right? So you organize everything, the hotel, the dinner, the accommodation, where you're going, what fun activities you're going to do, the drinks, everything. Organize it all and get into a routine of doing that. That's how you make it spicy. And I know they say the words, relationships are hard work, right? I call bullshit on that, right? And I say, because when you got into a relationship, right, it was easy. You're partnering up, go, you want to go out for a beer? Yep, straight away. That wasn't work, right? You want to go out for dinner? Yep, straight away. That wasn't work. But it gets into routine. And the routine is when people start saying hard work. It's not hard work to go and make love to your partner. It's actually it should be a lot of fun and excitement and juiciness and all that sort of stuff. But people start making it hard work. So I go, this is an identity thing that we were talking about earlier as well. So you look back, if you were going through a relationship going, oh, it's a bit stagnant, go back and say, what happened in the first 6 months of your relationship? How easy was it to catch up? How easy was it to go to a movie? How easy is it to go to a movie now? It's not hard. It's like, hey, let's go to a movie, other than COVID. But it's like, those things are easy to do. So make them easy and make them fun. That brings the juiciness back into the relationship as well.
Yeah, it's such a great point. And it, when I was lying in bed this morning and I was thinking about, some of the questions I was going to ask you, and I was thinking about the answers myself, like, from my own perspective. And the thing that really comes to me that that I recognize in myself, because I've been married and I've, you know, been in relationships, is that whilst we are dating, like you said, things are easy and they're fun and they're playful and there's a curiosity. There's still a curiosity. And once we become, like, this is the thing that, like, I personally have some blocking around, like, this thing we call marriage, you know, for all different reasons. But what it is the blocking around the complacency. Like, when we stop dating, we lose it. You know, we lose what we had before. And I heard something the other day on a podcast, and I was at the gym, and it basically, you know, it was this man, this black man, I can't remember what his name was, but he was a motivational speaker, and he was just like, you know, all of you men out there that are bored in your relationships, that's on, you know, that's on you. All of you women that are bored in your relationship, that's on you. If you've been together for 10 years, start fucking dating. Start dating your person rather than just being with them. And I just thought that was so beautiful. And I imagine it's like such a challenge to go from being in relationship and just sort of being complacent to like, what do I do to date again? You know, because as you probably know as well as I do, once you come out of when you don't know that information, you've come out of a long-term relationship and then you start dating again, you're like, whoa, like, this is so weird. Like, you know, there's a lot of things that you've got to kind of manage and take into account, but it really is a beautiful experience. So that's great. I love that.
And he was spot on. Start dating you, and that's what I was saying about the date nights and the date days. Now, if anyone's stuck, you just Google. Like, I see stuff on like Facebook ads going, buy this program, 50 great things to do on a date, right? And you open up and they have surprise dates. There's stuff everywhere. Even if I just Google 50 things or a surprise thing to take my partner on a date with, right? Like, it's not, we don't have to, the great thing about the internet these days is we don't have to go, if you're not a creative person, you go, oh my God, I'm out. Google it and you go, wow, I would never have thought of that. Like, here's one. I took Mia on a date to one of the escape rooms. Right. And that was so much, if you've seen those escape rooms, that was so much fun. That was early on. It's like, you know, you get locked up, and I said, not locked up in sexual ways. You're locked up, and we went to a speakeasy 1920s. So everything was based around the Prohibition era. So there was clues, and you had to be like Sherlock Holmes. One of the best things about that particular date was we got to see how each other functioned, how our brains worked, and how we worked under pressure. And it was so much fun. But you can do that anytime. So Google things, fun things to do on a date, right? That's it. And then you don't need to be creative, because there'll be hundreds of things come up. And I challenge all the men, if they're going, oh, it's a bit slow in this relationship, go and do something different and spice it up. And that's not spicing up the sex life. It's spicing up your life. That will then spice up their bedroom. And that's the biggest key. It's not like, oh, let's just go in and woo her in the bedroom. It's actually wooing her out of the bedroom that gets the wooing in the bedroom. And the spiciness in the bedroom.
Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely recognize that when you share that about wooing out of the bedroom, like that, to me, life and how we do life is foreplay. And if that's off kilter, you know, because I recognize that, you know, we have this, some of us have this thing where the bedroom is the bedroom and then outside is outside, and it doesn't really like intertwine. And so what happens is we get into the bedroom and it's like, cool, game on, you know. But for me personally, and I know this is like part of being a woman as well, but I recognize it's in men, that if things are off out here, there's just no way. Like, I don't trust you if we're off and then all of a sudden you want to get with me and, like, you know, share energy. It's like, it's confusing and it feels unsafe for me, and feeling unsafe for a woman is like the ultimate shutdown, right?
And men, listen to that point that Lily just made then, because that is probably the absolute key, because that's what women express all the time, all the time. So men understand that. It's not, you know, that was that quote that I said to get them in bed, you've got to get them out of bed. And it's the wooing outside. It's the connection outside, because that's one of the most common things women talk about in relationships. They're going, they're two separate things. It's like, no, they're not. They're actually meant to be, everything is one. And the bedroom is the symptom of the relationship. If it's amazing connection, deep connection, it's a symptom. It's a great symptom of a great relationship. If it's a loveless marriage or a loveless relationship, that's the symptom of what's going on outside. And it's, so this is an identity thing. And I talk about identity stories about, what are your relationship stories? My love life's dead. I was like, okay, well, yeah, that's easy to tell because you're not having sex or you're not connecting. So what the hell are you going to do about it? Because if you just keep saying that over and over and over and repeating it, then there's going to be a problem. Now, here's the thing. That's why I said earlier about my parents having a connect. I could have easily had a connection problem. And this is why, and I'll share in Sydney and Newcastle part of my story, but my first sexual experience also was a very profound impact. I'm not going to tell it here. And that's not because it's because I want to just share that, it's had a profound impact. And those first time moments as well can also send you on a trajectory, in a positive direction or a really negative direction. And I had 2 examples within about 8 months of something that was profoundly beautiful and potentially profoundly, absolutely horrendous. And it was in my 17th year. So, and I'll talk about that story, when we're together in 3 weeks' time. But there's impacts and stories. So that changes things. And I just want to jump onto this because it goes back to subconscious stories. The things like, I love being in a relationship. I can never be alone. So think about some of these words. I love being in partnership. Friends are easy to make, or girlfriends are easy to get, or boyfriends are easy to grate. I'm a stud. I'm an arsehole. There's all these I'm a terrible lover in bed, or I don't have a big enough cock. All these sort of things. And the reason why I'm saying that is think about if you're saying words like that. Now, if it's really positive, that's great. But if your subconscious identity is already saying, I'm hopeless in relationship, it doesn't matter how much, I'm saying I'm just saying as a bloke, if I was saying that to myself, it doesn't matter how awesome the woman is, how much space she gives me, and how much things she does to hunt me down and do all these things, I'm going to destroy that relationship because I'm already sitting here going, I'm a hopeless lover, or I'm hopeless in relationship, and I beat myself up. And that's why one of the things is going to create great relationships. You've got to do the work on yourself. You've got to do the work on yourself, and you've got to lean into the shadow, or lean into that dark side, or lean into those shitty belief systems about I'm crappy in bed, or I'm this, or I'm that, because that will govern. I guarantee you, because the subconscious controls 95 to 98% of everything you do, it will govern you in your relationships moving into the future. So you've got to turn around and look at some of that shit. And some people go, well, how do I look at that? Ask the stories. What do I say to myself? That's the best way to say it. As a money story, look at your bank account. That'll tell you really, really quickly your money stories, right? Your relationship stories, easy to look at the relationships around you. Have you got a great bunch of mates, great bunch of girlfriends? Do you have good quality relationships? Are there good people in your life that will make you accountable? Are there great people? Or are they all assholes? And are they all like disrespectful? Go and do this, go and do that. Don't worry about being honest. Don't tell the truth. If you're hanging around those people, more than likely, you're going to be that type of person as well. So there's a great quote that says, if you can't change the team, change the team. But the team I'm talking about is the inside stuff. You've got to look at that. So start asking quality questions of yourself, because if you can change yourself, your whole relationships around you will change for the better as well.
Beautiful. That's fucking awesome share. Thank you for that. Is there anything, excuse me, is there anything that you would like to, well, actually, the question that I have, because we've spoken a little bit about what you're going to be sharing at Enlighten in the Bedroom. Is there anything that you can kind of share on that as a little bit of a taster? Not so much what you're going to be taking us through, but just something so that people can recognize, yes, I want to be there, or no, that doesn't fit for me.
Yeah. Well, number one is our workshops, and I'll just say our workshops are all experiential based. Right, so I'm one of those people that when I went to seminars and all that stuff, I'm putting my hand up going, give me an activity, show me something to do. I just want to get up, make me move, and all that sort of stuff as well. So If you love that, then get to these events, because I can tell you I'm not going to disappoint with that. So, but the other reason, well, is that, so I'm always one of those people, show me something to do, give me something, give me a game to play, give me a process to do.
Yeah.
But also from a neurological perspective and a psychology perspective, when we're actually physically doing something, we'll take that on board at a much greater capacity, because our neurology is being lit up. So the number one thing is going, there is no way you're just going to be sitting down doing nothing when I'm presenting. So we've got multiple activities, and some of them are really, when I say profound and challenging, it doesn't mean that you're going to be sitting in the corner rocking and crying afterwards. So please don't go, oh my God, I'm not going because he's going to spotlight me. I'm not going to be pointing people out. It's not going to be one-on-one stuff. It's all group exercises that just to reinforce that. So if you love them, that's for you. Get along and learn these, because, and obviously I'm not going to tell you what ones we're going to do. There's one exercise, goes for 15, 20 minutes, that will have an impact on our perception of men and women at a very, very deep capacity. And it's actually a really fun, well, potentially a really fun game to play. So all I say that, but what I want to say going away is talking about that is that communication is vital. We know that. It's not the big one. It's not the big one, and I will talk about that at the workshop. So if you want to know what the big one is, I'm not revealing it today. But communication is absolutely vital. We as I said, we know that, but it's how you communicate, what you communicate, and then there's the next step above. So that's going to be really important. So we talk about that. And I think the other thing is that if you really want to, excuse me, if you really want to understand, take the time to sit in the other sex's shoes, all right? Because we see things that are going on in society, and men will go, we see especially the stories come around now about, what do women have to do to go and just go out for night time. Put yourself in the woman's shoes and go, if I was a woman, I was walking through a dark street, how would I feel, right? And you probably go, yeah, not good. Right. So, and if I was a man, going to, how would I feel? And it's not just about preparing and all that stuff. It's like, how would I feel? What would rejection feel like? And because sometimes going into the opposite side gives you an opening and an idea of what happens. And as I said, one of the processes may or may not have something to do with that one. But it can be really, really profound. And if you can't, then get along to Enlightenment in the Bedroom in Sydney and in Newcastle, because we'll show you a game and a process that will do this really, really easily. And it's an amazing, amazing process. So hopefully that's just gives a little bit of a taster. But if you want the experiences, we're going to have multiple, and they're really going to integrate so much about creating a much more powerful and amazing relationship.
Amazing. Thank you so much. When you mentioned that about like stepping into the other sex's shoes, something that I will share just on the end here is that it's been one of, there's been so many profound things that I've learned through my journey, but one really profound piece that landed for me was what it is like to be the masculine in the bedroom. And for me, not even recognizing that that I'm the feminine as such, which, I can unpack so much on this, but not even really recognizing that I hold the feminine, stepping into like actively being like, I am going to be the masculine, like with a woman partner and also with a man partner. It was actually and is still one of the scariest things that I experience, is to hold the masculine, because there's a piece there where, as the feminine, we get to receive. And so there's a leader. But when I step into the leader in the bedroom, it's like, I feel so vulnerable. I feel like, am I doing it right? Like, is this hurting? Am I, like, what can I do to be better? Am I enough? Like, there's just so much there. So when you speak about stepping into the role of the other sex, this exercise that you're going to be taking people through in Enlightenment in the Bedroom, honestly, I believe that exercise has the capacity to change the way that people relate, full stop. Like, it's such an amazing thing to do. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
Awesome.
And just before we end, just on Enlightenment in the Bedroom in Newcastle, we also have the beautiful Sindra Banks. And Sindra is going to be, she's an incredibly interesting creature. And she is going to be speaking about her journey and coming out. She's a married woman who, her and her husband, Luke, both identify as queer. I'm so excited to introduce you to both of them. And so she's going to be speaking on that. And I am going to be sharing on how to communicate more desire through the beginning of relationships, and also as a single, you know, how to communicate desire that still feels safe and doesn't have people shut down. Because I feel like once we start to communicate desire, the arousal piece comes up, and then a lot of times it can really bring a lot of fear in people, especially in the beginnings of a relationship, and then, you know, different kind of thing in the end. So I felt like I wanted to speak on that to support what you were doing, what you were speaking on. So if anyone would like tickets to Enlightenment in the Bedroom, they are available in the bio, in the link in my bio. Sydney is almost sold out already. Like, it's incredible. Newcastle, yeah, I know, it's amazing. There's like a huge crew coming down there. And Newcastle, there's still tickets available. Yeah, I just want to thank you for coming on, Clinton. I just imagine that we could be on here for 12 hours straight and still feel like we hadn't covered half of what we want to cover. So I'm super excited to give you a huge piece of the stage at Enlightenment in the Bedroom, Newcastle and Sydney. And yeah, thanks so much for coming on.
My absolute pleasure, and I'm so excited to jump in and get on the stage and just share some wisdom and really just have a lot of fun. Relationships are meant to be fun. The bedroom's meant to be fun. So let's just and it's my number one value is fun and passion. And so thank you for inviting me, and I'm really looking forward to just rocking, having fun, and learning from everyone as well, and teaching some great lessons about relationships.
Great. Thanks, Clinton. All right.
Thank you.
We will reconvene soon.
We sure will. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here. See you soon.